Just as a quick little side note here, I finally got around to listing my game on Steam, so go and wishlist it if you're one of them cool people. Now back to the video. Not gonna lie, I wish I was an artist. It would make it way easier to come up with interesting characters and draw up new levels and ideas. Stuff is hard. Art is hard. A lot more difficult than I thought going into it. But while I am jealous of all the people out there with actual artistic ability, I'm gonna give it my best. I have an idea for how I want the game to look, but I'm gonna need the character in the map to match that. I've said previously that this is supposed to be like a game that kids made up and play around their house, and they make it up and play it with the resources they have around their house, and in large part their imagination. That's why all the UI in the game so far looks like it's made from cardboard or other scrap. I'm drawing heavy inspirations from my own childhood where my brother and I would do stuff like this all the time. So my overall goal is to mimic that sense of childlike creativity. If you've watched some of the previous videos I've made, you might understand that I'm not happy. And by that I mean I'm not happy with the character design. It's always been alright, but it could be better. I've previously devoted some time to experimenting with new looks, and I couldn't find anything that I was quite happy with. I eventually just settled with what I already had. But now it's time to jump back down the rabbit hole and try again. This time I'm going to take a different approach and try to simplify the character, and make them seem like they're just a sticker or something on a piece of cardboard that's been cut out. And while it is a simpler idea, it at least matches the game and the aesthetic that I'm going for. So it'll work for now. I also tried out a simpler animation style, and I think I like it a lot better. It makes it seem like it's a moving piece on a tabletop game, which is kind of what I was going for. And to match the new style, I made the equipment pieces all look like they were stickers, and they've just been stuck to the character on the piece of cardboard. But looking at it after I've done all this, I do like the simpler character idea, but I'm not really into the cardboard look for the character, so maybe I'll try something else. So I tried to make him look like a model or something that would go on top of a tabletop game, and I think this one looks a whole lot better. And for the first time since I started, I think I might actually be happy with the character. Another benefit to this character style is that it's really easy to customize. Because there's no direct animation on the character and no movement in his character joints, I don't really have to worry anymore about how certain pieces are going to animate on him. And it'll be way easier to draw things on him from scratch, well beyond the mouth and eyes that I've already implemented. Customization is a really important element in a lot of games. It allows the player to express themselves and add a personal identity to what they're playing. Customization could also be a good way to add longevity to a game if you make them unlockable or something. Or in other words, giving your player something to work for. So now I'm going to add new customizations to the game through the upper body and lower body. And I have the perfect idea for the first new lower body piece. Hehe, it's perfect. I've said before, don't ask what inspires me, because I genuinely have no idea. And for the first upper body piece, I wanted to do something a little outside the box. So I basically just traced my reference that I have on my art file, and decided to try that as a customization piece. Then I just added them both as unlockable customization items that work just the same way as the eyes and mouth do. Hey, it might not be how you design your character, but at least it's something. And it's also working, which that's an important step. And the next thing to redesign was the map, which is what I've been putting off for a while now. You see, I had this idea for a while that everything had to be hexagonal, or hexagonal, however you say it, because that's always how the movement was going to be in the game, so that's how I pictured everything initially. So my brain was under the assumption that it had to be this way, but then I thought, maybe it didn't. I know, real clever idea there. My idea now is that I could use a normal looking map, and the hexagonal playfield could still be apparent when you're moving the character. But first I was going to need a new map to test this on, so thank you for the map donation. Only joking. I just need to borrow something to see how it'll look before I make my own. But this one ain't working, so maybe I'll try another map. Just gotta get rid of some of these pesky blemishes on my map. And yeah, I think this might work. So now it's time to create something that's not entirely plagiarized. I wanted to roll with the idea of making a tabletop game, or that kind of aesthetic. So I started by making this simple board design to see how it looks. And then I added some cardboard and tried drawing a simple texture on top of it. I tried to mimic the look of colored pencils or something, but it was a little difficult using just computer software and a lack of experience or talent. And I like the way it's looking so far, so now I'm going to need to add more to it, like a background. And I started with this. What better place for some kids to play a made-up game than in their room? I drew a bunk bed off to the side here and tried to make it look a little messy. And then I drew this TV and a generic video game console, because my brother and I used to play on an NES a lot as kids. And as a little spur-of-the-moment design choice, I decided to make a little game that the kids were playing on screen. It's basically this world's version of Super Mario Bros. And this kind of added a little inspiration for the game that the kids are making up. Kind of like they were playing their favorite game, Super Battle Bros, and decided to make their own game based off of it. And then I went ahead and improved the room some more by adding this dresser in the corner and a trash can with some of the unused pieces for their game. And I already know what you're thinking. They don't recycle. I know, they have a lot of growing up to do. When I saw this new map look, I had a new idea of how to spawn the characters in. Instead of just adding random characters to your hand whenever you click on something, maybe I could take a little bit of the RNG out of it and make it so you could choose whichever character you want. This would also make the game a little bit more strategic. For example, if you drew a hand that was all crit-based cards, you would then have the option of choosing from all of your character, and you might have made one of them have a high base crit rate. So now you can specifically choose him to go along with your starting hand. And I don't know, I like the idea. It takes a lot of the RNG element out of it and adds more strategy. And that's mostly it for this update. I also did a lot of little stuff like cleaning up the UI, but I won't bore you with any details on that. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Consider subscribing if you like the video or if you like the game I'm working on. Positive feedback encourages me to keep going with it. Anyway, bye.